Darcy and Patricia O'Connor here today on the bonsai balcony. It is our midweek drop. Well, we'll see. The idea is to make this short enough that we might actually get it in the can. Long videos with weather like what you see here sometimes take days to upload. So that's kind of been affecting our schedule a little bit. Also, what's been affecting our shooting schedule is the rainy days sort of make it easy for me to not sweat it and just kind of hang out on the couch with my little wiener dog when I'm off work and watch it rain. So yeah, we find it a little easier to take off, and we've been taking off and letting it do it. But today was kind of unusual in that they were calling for an awful lot of wind and rain, starting depending on who you listen to. Some were staying last night, some were staying today. The ones that said today were correct. We're just now starting to get into it. See, they haven't suspended flights yet out of Oakland or San Francisco. But it is quite breezy without my music playing, and whenever I'm out here adjusting camera, I can just hear the wind howling in between these buildings, and the trees are rustling around a little bit. But I thought it would just, we would just do a little quick catch up. I haven't shot in a few days, but it's mostly been because it hasn't been the kind of weather where I've wanted to necessarily dive into projects, and we haven't been doing anything at Frida's place either. Tonight we will do something at Frida's place. I've cleared the docket for Frida and I to bring something in the house and clean it up. I've been looking at our little baby pines. They need to be weeded again, like the whole lot of them. We could probably do that, or I could go back and we could do some more wiring to our Japanese black pine. But yeah, this is what on rainy days, we don't get that many rainy days. When I first moved to California, we were in the middle of a long drought, because after I moved here, that drought business didn't go over for a minute. And it had almost gotten to the point, I probably got water on the lens just in, and it had probably gotten to the point for many people that when it rained, it was almost like a snow event for people who don't get snow. Everybody would get up from their desk at work and go look and see the rain. But we've been, the last couple of years, it's been catching up water-wise, sort of with a vengeance. And this year, I believe it even started this earlier, but because we're in El Nino. Last year, I believe, if this is what El Nino is, I believe we were in this El Nino business last year. Just nobody was saying or something, or maybe I wasn't listening to the right people. But yeah, there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that breeze on our balcony. Also, here's a little quick catch up. I have been being asked how I had planned to treat this particular Ponderosa. It's the one that is a medium size, and it has several years on it. It's not a shoot that is an experimental, but this is an actual bonsai tree. And without it going upstate the way the other one did, it is the next to be potentially harmed by being here in this area in this weather. Not this weather we're having right now, but just by not being exactly perfectly acclimated. So what I'd been saying was I was going to do a process with this tree by which we were going to put it in a cooler. I started that night before last. It's not something I have to do a number of nights in a row. What I had been told, now we're talking about this Ponderosa right here. What I had been told was that the Bay Area, or my area of the Bay Area, lacks the following things. It doesn't get cold enough during the winter for this tree to properly shut down, and quite often they run themselves out and die in a couple of years. I have experienced that with some of the trees, but it was always one of potentially two or three things. I could also look at the 120-degree day we had, or in the case of last year, I can look at the day. I can look at the part where we had like 45 days of rain in a row and not enough room on this balcony to ever let the thing dry out, and I lost it in the middle of that. I mean, if you want to just look at it like what was happening when the tree died, that would seem to be an indicator, but I think not. I think it was probably one of three things. And that first thing, and one of those three things would have been that it's not so perfectly suited the way I hoped I'd be able to work around, or maybe my placement, next to the water would buy me some grace as far as heat's concerned. But what I'm finding out is it doesn't get quite as hot as these trees are used to getting during their very, very, very short summer at high elevation. That's the key to it. It's a very short summer, like 4 months, but during that time, they get way hotter than the temperatures we see here. So it doesn't get hot enough and it doesn't get cold enough. But I've been told that if we let it overwinter someplace colder, or we're able to put it in a cooler or something and accumulate some below freezing time, right around freezing time, that if we get what I was told by somebody was pretty specific, 36 hours. I've also been told by other people like, that's the jury's still out on that hour thing. So my idea was to shoot for 40 hours, and it doesn't have to be 40 hours in a row or 40 hours in a week or anything like that. It just over the winter process, we need to accumulate 40 hours at freezing or thereabout. And we don't necessarily want the pot to completely freeze over. So, the same things that you would do to your bonsai tree in the backyard, you would do, cover it with, in this case, probably not leaves, on the ground. But I'm going to, what I started doing night before last, actually, was I wrapped the pot in a fluffy white towel so that it would just keep it from frosting over. And I put it in the refrigerator after dark, which would bring, at that point, it's no longer photosynthesizing because there's not any light for it to photosynthesize. So being in the dark refrigerator would not hurt it. Also, it's not going to be in there for an extended amount of time. I go in and out of the refrigerator every so often, so there is a slight amount of exchange of oxygen, and I'm not leaving it in there overnight, in any one spot overnight. Actually, it kind of gets split up. So then, before I turn in for the night, and that's usually about 7 or 8 hours before I have to get up the next morning, is the kind of the way my MO is, my modus operandi. And at that point, I take the tree from the refrigerator part where it's been resting comfortably, and I set it in the freezer section, and I take an ice pack that I leave in the freezer in case I need an ice pack, and I put it in the crack of the door so that the freezer door is allowed to escape some cold. It can't just top off and maintain 15 degrees in there. That brings the temperature up to 20 plus, and it stays in there until my alarm causes me to spring out of bed 8 hours later, in which case I go out there and retrieve the tree and then place it on the table where the morning light is going to start warming it up. And then by the time I've had, before I pop out to catch my ride for the day, it's back out on the balcony. So I wanted to give it one of those and then give it a few days to look and see how we're doing. That went as planned the time I did it. I tried it, I did a test the night before that, and I didn't hone in the temperatures like I want. They got colder. No, they stayed warmer than I would have thought. So I had to make a decision as to how much I wanted to vent the freezer. No, it's not the greatest idea to leave the freezer door partially ajar. That's going to run up my bill. But that's going to be about 8 hours of that while I snooze. And I don't have any perishables in there, and plus it doesn't really get above freezing. It just doesn't go as far below freezing as it was. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So that is something that I'm doing. 5 of those, one down. Um, 4 times 8 is 36. 5 times 8 is 40. Yeah, 5 of those, 4 more to go, and we should have accumulated enough hours to help this tree properly shut down and have some overwintering. And the other thing is it's important that I don't take it out of a 40 or 50 or 20 degree environment and then put it in a 70-degree environment. It's not soccer ball. And I have to be concerned about that because we can have those kind of temperatures here. It was 70 just a few days ago. Yeah. So that's kind of what we have going on. That's a quick catch up. Like and subscribe if you guys have not already. We've got so much to do whenever it starts warming up a little bit. We're just looking forward. We're looking forward to our cypress trees filling out and greening up. And even now, the door's been wide open all day. I mean, the rain's not blowing. If I, like right now, I'm standing inside my door and I'm getting sprinkled on a little, but the rug in front of the patio door isn't damp. It's not making it inside the apartment. So, and it's not cold enough that, it's the perfect temperature just to leave the back door open. And that's kind of where we're at. So, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're enjoying this. It's not for lack of enjoyment that I haven't been shooting in the last couple of days. It's just that I know that uploading videos is the tall order. So anything I really got to say, I'd either have to say it super quick or make it on a better day. I appreciate you, and Frida, Reba Darcy appreciates you. As you can see, the girl definitely knows how to take it easy. I would say she's got taking it easy down to a science. Thank you so much for watching.